Yo, what's up, everybody? And welcome to the Meet Me on Main Street podcast. On today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the second half of my last trip to Disney World. Today's July 7th, 2025, and this is episode 5 of Meet Me on Main Street podcast. Let's do it. Yo, what's up, everybody? And this is your guy, Joey Belveduto, aka Nostalgic Belv. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Let's jump right into some Disney news. Yesterday, Disney closed Rivers of America along with the Liberty Square Riverboat and Tom Sawyer Island to make space for the new Cars-themed area in Magic Kingdom. As of right now, there is no official date for when this Cars-themed area might be opening, but I will keep you updated. With Epcot's Food and Wine Festival right around the corner, Disney just put out a big list of artists and bands that were going to be playing at the Eat to the Beat. Some of these artists include Joey Fatone, The Fray, Hanson, Smash Mouth, Bowling for Soup, Boyz II Men, and The Beach Boys, plus many more. The Hall of Presidents has finally reopened after being closed since January 20th, and it has a new updated animatronic of President Donald Trump. Spaceship Earth at Epcot is set to close for a routine refurbishment starting August 25th, 2025. The good news is, it's expected to reopen later in the year. While it's not major reimagining we've been waiting for, it's still something to look forward to. Here's the scoop on the upcoming Zootopia-themed show at Disney World. Coming this winter, Animal Kingdom's Tree of Life Theater is going to host a brand new show called Zootopia Better Zootgether. This show will bring the vibrant world of Zootopia to life with our favorite characters and exciting new adventures. How about some news into the latest on 2025 Epcot International Food and Wine Festival? This year, the festival is set to kick off on August 29th and run through November 23rd, 2025. It's going to be an amazing experience with a mix of global cuisines, delicious drinks, and unique food booths scattered all around the World Showcase. This year, you can expect some exciting new food offerings like a Korean barbecue taco, a plant-based Moroccan tagine, or even a specialty drink called the Global Breeze. Plus, there will be plenty of fan favorites returning, so whether you're craving something sweet or savory, there's going to be something for everyone. And that's about it for the Disney news today, guys. We are going to jump right into the second part of this episode, where last week we talked about the first half of my vacation that we spent down in Disney, and this week we're going to talk about the second half. And it starts off on Sunday, where we decided to sleep in this day, and we wanted to walk around the resort and get a little pin trading in. There's a few good pin boards around All-Star Sports. There's one in the cafeteria area, there's one in the front lobby at the main desk, and occasionally you will see some workers walking around with either lanyards or satchels or even just holding a pinboard. After this, we had some plans to head back down to Disney Springs to meet up with my family. We were going to meet up with my brother and his wife and kid and my uncle and his family as well, and we decided once again to hit up Polite Pig. I ended up getting the same exact thing as last time, of course, because it was just so good. I could not resist. I had to get it twice. Of course, I had the sweet tea old-fashioned once again as well, and it was a hot one out this day. I remember as I was eating the ridiculous amount of barbecue meat, I was sweating all over the place. After this, we decided to walk around a little bit. We ended up hitting Goofy's Candy Company. We went to the big pin store right smack in the middle of Disney Springs. They got just about every pin available there. They got all the mystery packs and, of course, a good pin board and some people doing some pin trading there as well. After this, this was something we were really looking forward to. We decided to go over to Gideon's. And if you don't know what Gideon's is, it's a cookie spot that makes some really excellent cookies. They're highly rated in the area. Now, one thing about Gideon's is you never know how long the wait might be. Sometimes the wait could be well over an hour. It's almost like any other attraction in Disney. You have to wait in line. But we got very lucky this day, and we only ended up having to wait about 10 minutes. My wife was extremely excited to try out these cookies. And I will say, these cookies are a serious game changer. And I consider myself a cookie fanatic. I enjoy all types of cookies. And I will say, I will give a Gideon's cookie a 9 out of 10. It was excellent. It was heavy. It was filling. I think it was a good bang for your buck. And on top of that, I will maybe put this down as the best beverage I had while I was down in Disney this time. We ended up getting the peanut butter cold brew that is at Gideon's. And I will say it is the best cold brew I've ever had in my life. It was so amazing. My mouth is watering right now just thinking of it. And I will even go as far to say it was the best overall beverage that I had while I was down in Disney this time around. We then headed over to the Ganachery and we got a Dole Whip flight, which was so good, so refreshing, such a great way for you to try multiple flavors and also share with your family and your friends. Now, this day overall was basically just a chill day. We were kind of wiped from the last couple park days. We knew that we weren't going to hit a park on this day, mainly just the Disney Springs. And my mother-in-law was going to be joining us on the trip at this point as well. So I had to put some time aside to go back to MCO and pick her up later that night. So we didn't really want to get involved in anything too heavy because I knew at some point I was going to have to leave and go pick up my mother-in-law. I knew once we picked up my mother-in-law that she was going to be hungry, and we really wanted to try to get out to a resort this night and get some food. But at the same time, we didn't have any reservations set earlier in the day, so it's kind of slim pickings by this point to kind of see like what is still available. So we kind of looked around a little bit, and we ended up deciding on the Sanaa at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's such a unique spot. It's a table service restaurant that offers an incredible experience with a mix of African, Indian, and Mediterranean flavors. But what really makes it stand out to me is its location because it's set inside Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is a beautiful resort inspired by the African safaris. The lodge itself, it feels like you're in an immersive African wilderness, and the savanna view of the Sanaa is a huge draw as well. Guests can actually dine and see animals like giraffes, zebras, right outside the windows. I think the coolest thing to mention here is their famous Indian-style bread service. You get to try a variety of warm naan breads paired with different dips. It's a fan favorite and totally Instagram-worthy. Plus, the ambience is super cozy with a blend of earthy colors, calm lighting, and it's a bit of a hidden gem, offering a quieter, more relaxed experience compared to some of the more busier Disney spots. We all really did enjoy the bread service. It was excellent, dipping all the different dips and having all the different types of naan bread. I also had the peanut butter white Russian, which was just super delicious. And our entrees, this is a different kind of spot. You have to be into this type of food to really enjoy it. But it's different. My wife ended up getting the Zanzibari vegetable curry. My mother-in-law enjoyed the grilled New York strip. My son got the kids macaroni and cheese, which he actually loved so much he asked for more. And they even gave him some more to take home with him, which was super nice. And I ended up getting the braised beef with the chickpea wat, and it came with the scented rice. And it was good. It was very good. It was very filling. We left extremely full. And overall, I really enjoyed my experience at the Sanaa. That was the first time we ever ate there. So after this, we called it a night, and we headed back to the resort to get some sleep because the next day, which was Monday, we were hitting my favorite park, which is Epcot. We got there nice and early, and we jumped right into the meet and greets. My son was able to meet Mickey, Pluto, and Minnie. You got to take advantage of these early on if you can, because sometimes these lines get out of control, and most of the time the meet and greets are earlier in the day. Right after this, we jumped right into eating. That is my favorite part of going to Epcot. I am a dude who enjoys food. For those of you who haven't listened to past episodes, I own a restaurant in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I'm very much a foodie. So we ended up going over and we got the peach cobbler, the watermelon refresher drink, and the little Cuban sandwich. All three of them top notch, extremely good. The Cuban was actually one of my favorite things we ate the entire time we were in Epcot. And wow, I'm just super impressed with the food that they could put out so quickly and keep up with demand. Because as someone who owns a restaurant, I know that is not necessarily an easy thing to do. We then walked around a little bit after this while we were eating, and we really just admired all of the topiaries that they had. The Phineas and Ferb one was so cool. I mean, obviously, they're coming back with the Phineas and Ferb reboot right now. My son is a huge fan of that, and we got some pictures. You could see those right on my Instagram if you guys are interested in seeing any of those. And then really right back to it, just trying to get some more food. I'm trying to eat as much as I can when I'm in Epcot. I usually recommend for people not to make any dinner reservations in Epcot, mainly because you can eat very cheap and you have a large variety of different kinds of food. I ended up grabbing the trio of dips and chips, and my wife grabbed the street corn, and both of them were extremely delicious. By this time, we had a lightning lane set up to ride Ratatouille, so we walked over there, waited in the lightning lane line for maybe about 15 minutes, rode the ride. Ratatouille's always a great ride, super fun. Ended up buying a Remy's Ratatouille pin right outside the ride as well. Ended up being one of my favorite pins I bought on the entire trip. And then by this time, we had a lightning lane set up for Guardians. Now, even though we did buy the lightning lane, I think we still ended up waiting in line for about 45 minutes. But that's not bad compared to the regular line, which was looking like it was about almost 2 hours. Guardians is by far my favorite ride in Disney World. Just the theming of it, the overall speed of it all, the music. It's just an amazing ride all around. We then passed by the Honey Bistro. There were a few things that I was interested in trying here along with my wife. The chicken and waffles, the honey glazed cauliflower, and then, of course, the honey peach cobbler freeze with the blueberry vodka. One thing I will say about the chicken and waffles, it was, I think, the worst food that I ate the entire day in Epcot. The waffle was just a little bit soggy, cold. The chicken was very cold as well and chewy. There's going to be a best and there's going to be a worst. And for this time around, the chicken and waffles was the worst. My wife ended up getting the honey glazed cauliflower with the honey roasted carrot puree, wild rice pilaf, spring veggies, and a honey blistered grape. And it was good. She enjoyed it very much. Now, for the honey peach cobbler freeze with the blueberry vodka, I will put this down as a top 3 beverage that I had in Disney, along with the sweet tea old fashioned, the banana old fashioned, and the peanut butter cold brew. I know I said 4, but I'm actually putting both of those whiskey drinks as a tie, and I'm going to put this honey peach cobbler freeze with the blueberry vodka as number 2, and then I'm going to put the peanut butter cold brew from Gideon's as number 1. It was fantastic. I was almost tempted to go back and get a second honey peach cobbler freeze with blueberry vodka, but I know I had a lot more things to try, and I didn't want to get ahead of myself at this point in the day. We ended up riding a few more rides. Overall, our day in Epcot was a pretty good day. It was also an extremely hot day, but that's as to be expected when you're down in Orlando, Florida. A few more things that I did try was the shrimp tacos, the bao buns, the dumplings, the cheese crab rangoons, the frozen peach whiskey, and the ham and cheese pretzel, which was also one of the top things that I really enjoyed in the showcase this year. By this point in the day, we were pretty much rocked. We headed back to the All-Star, and we went for a night swim, and then we headed to bed, because this brings us into our next day, which was Tuesday, and we were spending the day at DAC, better known as Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now, one thing I'd like to add here, guys, is when I'm going to stay at a resort, there are a ton of Facebook groups out there for all different sorts of things that are Disney related. So I was staying at the All Star Sports, and I know that there are a couple solid groups on Facebook that just kind of give you some more insight on where you're staying when you're in Disney World. So I joined this group that was mainly for people who were staying there, and it gave tips and tricks, but it also occasionally would give information on people leaving behind strollers or cases of water or snacks. Basically, these are the types of things that people cannot bring back on a plane with them. Maybe they didn't want to rent a stroller their whole time they were there, so they just, bought one for $50 at Walmart and they can't take it home and now somebody else can use it, or they have, 16 bottles of water left over. They don't want to go to waste, but it won't fit in their bag when they take it on the plane, or it'll make them go overweight or something like that, or along those lines. But there's another thing that's cool about it too, which is sometimes you could find some pixie dust. Now, what is pixie dust? Well, pixie dust in Disney World is kind of like a magical metaphor. It's the idea that when someone does something kind or special for another person, they're spreading a little bit of Disney magic. It's not just about the big things like characters or fireworks, it's also about the small, thoughtful gestures that make people's days better. So, like, for example, like a cast member going above and beyond for a guest, or, a fellow guest helping another find their lost item, or, something along those lines. That's a form people would call pixie dust. It's just an extra sprinkle of kindness that gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling that, everybody loves in Disney. Disney fans, they all love to share these moments because they're little pieces of magic that happen. And, it's kind of similar to how when Tinkerbell spreads her pixie dust to make magic happen as well. So with all that being said, I found some pixie dust on the group. Somebody that was literally about 8 doors down from us, they made about, it looked like 15 different bracelets and had them taped to their door. And they let people come up and grab one. They wanted to share a little bit of magic. My son ended up going up there and getting one. There was also some Stitch stickers in there, which is like his favorite character from Disney. So, it's just a nice, kind gesture from a stranger. Now, I'm heading back to Disney 2 weeks today, and my son and I, we're doing a little brainstorming right now on how we could spread some pixie dust when we go back as well. So, to pick back up where we left, we are now headed into Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom, one of my favorite parks because, in my opinion, it is the best park for pin trading. It seems like anywhere you turn, anywhere you look, there is a pin board staring at you. So, me and my wife, we love pin trading. Usually this is the park we get a lot of pins off the board. Our first ride of the day that we had scheduled was the Kilimanjaro Safari ride. I always recommend for everybody to ride this ride as early as possible in the day because when that heat comes, those animals like to hide. And then you're kind of just going on a little safari trip and not even seeing any animals. Now, of course, you'll always see a few, but you want to see as much as you possibly can to get the best experience. So, just some of the animals we've seen this time around. We've seen the giraffes, the rhinos, the antelopes, the hippos, the zebras, elephants, pink flamingos, and some lions. Now, there were some more too, but those are some of the ones that people really want to see. When we went back last year, the lions were nowhere to be found. It was so hot out. And, that's obviously a fan favorite. A lot of people love to see the lions. But this time they were hanging out. They were even playing a little bit. And, of course, we saw that nice, friendly baby giraffe, too, that I mentioned way back in episode 1 in the news on that episode, that they were expecting a little baby giraffe, and he is here, and he is cuter than ever. After this, the only 2 rides that we had scheduled was Dinosaur and, of course, Avatar's Flight of Passage. Now, I always say this about this ride. This is probably a top 3 ride in Disney World for me. Flight of Passage is just a game changer. If you've never rode it, it is a basically 3D ride, but there's also smells and all sorts of things included that just make this feel so realistic. I don't want to give the whole ride away, but it's just such a magical experience. But one thing I will say is if you do get motion sick, this might not be the ride for you. So after this, usually an Animal Kingdom day is somewhat of a shorter day. We needed to get some dinner, and you guessed it, we went back to Disney Springs, and could you guess where we ate? We ate at Polite Pig for a third time. And could you guess what I got? I got the butcher board for a third time. And, of course, the sweet tea old fashioned. It was so good, I had to do it 3 times. We ended up finishing up, going and getting another Dole Whip flight, and we headed back to the resort for the night for, of course, another night swim and some rest, because the next day it ends up being our very last day, and this is Wednesday, and we decided to go back to Hollywood Studios for the second time. So in total, we had 5 park days, and then you have to decide which park is going to get that second day. Now, this one, it played a little differently. I don't know if I would have gone back to Hollywood Studios for a second time if I didn't have the opportunity that was put in front of me by my uncle. He, of course, works in Disney, and he got early access to see the Disney Villain show before it was set out to the public. So he asked me if I wanted to go because he was able to bring a +1, and then he was even able to get me to be able to film some of the show. Now, I don't want to ruin the show for anybody, but I will say that it was one of the best shows I've ever seen in Disney, which I would assume everybody is getting ready for that as well. Live actors, extremely well done, great lighting. One thing I'd like to add that I found pretty cool is there was these bubbles that were coming down from the ceiling, and when you popped them, they were filled with smoke. So, it was just very interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but if you do want to watch a video of it, I'm going to have a video of it available on my Instagram, which is Belv Books Magic, in case you're interested in seeing it. Because if you're like me, I don't want to see it for the first time in person. I want to know what I'm getting ready for, and I will watch it online many, many times before I have to go see it in person. So once again, shout out Uncle Johnny for the hookup. And of course, if you guys want to go see the show, it is now available to public, and I highly recommend it. By this time, I went to go meet up with the rest of my family, my wife, mother-in-law, and my kid. They were watching the Indiana Jones show. I was able to get there pretty quickly, only missed about 2 minutes of it. They let me in to go see it. And I then followed that up with going and getting my very first Ronto wrap. So good. I'm looking forward to going back there this time and getting another one. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's available in the Star Wars area, and it's basically a large sausage wrap. It's got some coleslaw on it, and it is excellent. We then headed over and rode Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway again. It was my mother-in-law's first time, and she really, really enjoyed that ride. And then we decided to go over to the Tower of Terror. We got the Memory Maker. We got a second video of all of us on that ride. Super fun. Rock and Roller Coaster for the very last time that I will be riding that one before it's rethemed over to the Muppets. And then we finished the day off at Hollywood Studios with some tachos over at Woody's Lunchbox. Now this puts us just about at 5:30 p.m. and it's our last night in Disney World. It's always a little bit depressing knowing you got to go back to home, go back to reality, and we wanted to finish the night off with a good meal once again. So earlier that day, we got some reservations over at Coronado Springs at the Maya Grill. And once again, I will say about Coronado, super, super beautiful resort. It's not going to be as wildly themed as of, Disney stuff like all the other resorts that you see, like, say, Caribbean Beach or even the All-Stars when you're walking around there. It's more of just a convention center, I would say. But still, you still know that you are on Disney property when you're there. The Maya Grill was very, very good. I have nothing but good things to say about that. I ended up having the chicken and cheese quesadilla. We ordered the table guacamole. My son, I believe, ended up getting the macaroni and cheese again. My mother-in-law got fajitas, and my wife got some sort of vegetarian burrito. And, nothing but good things to say about Coronado. And Coronado is very fairly priced too for how nice it is. So I would like to stay there at some point in the near future. Maybe before the end of the year, I will get down there and do a night or two at Coronado. But guys, that's the trip. It was a nice 7-day trip down there. We did, 6 days at All Star, and we did 1 day at Pop Century. Pop Century was really great. It's super convenient, even if you have a rental car. It's so convenient just to hop onto the Skyliner. It's a game changer. It's a ride in itself. The kids love it, and it gets you right over to those 2 parks. So overall, guys, it was a great trip. I really enjoyed it. We did whatever we wanted to do this time around. That's there's 2 different types of Disney trips. You have the one where you kind of go down there and maybe you're just trying to do the bare minimum just so you can get down there and have some fun. And then you got that trip where you're like, whatever it is I want to do, I want to be able to do it. And that's kind of what this one was. We spent up some money on some pins. We added to our pin collection. We got to eat at the resort 2 times. Hey, we ate at Polite Pig 3 times. This is not something I would normally do on a trip. I'm the type of guy who believes in, bringing snacks and drinks to the park so you don't have to buy everything. Anywhere you can save money, do so. But, we spent up. We spent up a little bit this trip. And, Disney, they're giving out such good deals right now that you have the opportunity to spend up a little bit more. Take, for example, the Disney Plus subscriber deal they have going on right now where you could stay at the All-Star for $99 a night. They have the deal where you could go to Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot for around $85 a ticket. These are just things you can't beat, and you have to jump on the opportunity to go and get these deals when you can. So with that being said, of course, I am a travel agent. I work for 407 and Beyond. All of our services are 100% free to you. People ask me, well, how is that so? I make sure that you get the best deal possible. And basically, Disney, they take care of us, and they give us, a small percentage of whatever it is that you guys spend. That's basically how it works. So I want you guys to get the best possible deal, because then the next time you will come back to me and do it again, of course. And this is something, I don't look at it as a job. It's something I love. I have a lot of knowledge of it. I love answering questions about it. All of my friends and family, they know if they got a question about Disney, Universal, cruises, whatever the case is, I'm the guy to come to, and it's not a chore. I enjoy talking about it. It might even be to the point where they're afraid to ask me because I might go above and beyond with my answer when they just want a straight answer. So, with that being said, guys, this was episode 5. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram, you can find me at Nostalgic Belv. Belv is Belve. That's my personal Instagram. Or, if you want to check out some of the travel stuff, Belv Books Magic on Instagram. That's everything travel related. Nostalgic Belv on TikTok. If you'd like to reach out to me for any reason, you can always email me at josephbelvedutto@407vacations.com. All of these links and all of this information, they're always available in the show notes. So if you don't know how to spell my last name, because I know it's kind of a crazy one, all of that stuff is over in the show notes. Don't be afraid to email me. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any recommendations or you just have something to say or anything about the podcast, don't be afraid to reach out. Of course, guys, if you can leave a rating and a review for this podcast, it helps me push the podcast to new listeners, and make sure to subscribe, because the more people that subscribe to this podcast, the more people are going to be able to hear it, of course, and always share it with someone else who loves the genre. So once again, guys, thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next week on Meet Me on Main Street. So long.